Welcome to FRCMedia News for Thursday, January 28th, 2021. I'm Keith Tebow. This week, the second phase of COVID-19 vaccinations begins on Monday. What will be the city's role? Governor Charlie Baker delivers a non-traditional State of the Commonwealth address. Local businesses get more flexibility following the elimination of COVID-related curfews. And a local church ties in football's big game with helping those in need. All that and more coming up. The state announced the next phase of COVID-19 vaccinations will begin this Monday, February 1st. Those 75 or older can now make an appointment to receive the vaccine. We have set up a special web page with up-to-date local information on the status of vaccinations, including a list of locations in Fall River to receive the vaccine. Please visit frmedia.org/COVID vaccine. Currently, there are 2 locations in Fall River distributing the vaccine, CVS on President Avenue and Walgreens on Plymouth Avenue. Bristol Community College will also serve as a future vaccination site. Mayor Paul Coogan says the city of Fall River is working as an organizer to communicate with residents to get the vaccine while working on securing other vaccination sites.
The problem we're having is the lack of vaccines overall. We're dealing with 300 or 400 vaccines and thousands of people that want it. So that gets a little unwieldy because we're trying to make sure we accommodate as many people as possible, but we also have to make sure we're using all the safety measures that go with COVID every day of the week, depending on crowd size or how many people are around. That's why we were, as you brought up earlier, down at the Liberal Club yesterday looking for a South End location where we can bring people in, make them comfortable, and get them vaccinated. Working with South Coast Hospital there. This is a team effort. This is the city, DPH, EMS, the state, our hospital groups, our pharmacies. There's not going to be one solution to plow our way through the vaccinations. We want to have systems and procedures in place to make everybody comfortable and make sure we do this as safely as possible. We're now rolling up on people that are ready for their second shot. So, like, for example, my wife, next Thursday, she's already scheduled to get her second shot. She's a medical worker for a doctor's office, and they do theirs through Charlton. But they have to keep enough back, not only for the first shots, for the second shots. So it's going to get a little tricky here for a bit, but we're going to get our way through it.
The mayor says the city is also working on helping seniors and others to set up vaccination appointments.
Well, we're looking at a number of things, including bringing some people in and setting up a little phone bank or a computer bank and help people that need it. We're not sure yet. We didn't rush into it because knowing full well that we had 400 or 500 vaccines, I didn't want to jump in when I couldn't promise someone that was going through the procedure that they would get a vaccine. We don't have enough right now. So this limited rollout is the way to go. And again, seniors in Fall River will be serviced. We're going to try to get a small mobile team of vaccinators to go out to our high rises and literally go floor by floor for the people that want it. And a part of that is someone with a computer making sure that people are logged in properly. We'll make those accommodations also.
The pandemic and the state's recovery from it dominated Governor Charlie Baker's State of the Commonwealth address this week. The governor spent the early part of his address looking back at how life has changed for all of us 10 months ago.
Now, 2020 was a year like no other. The pandemic changed everything. And it was much more than just the worst public health crisis of the last 100 years. It came with economic calamity, severe job loss, business closures, anxiety, fear, civil unrest, riots, racial injustice, isolation, death, and loss. COVID turned everyone's life upside down and did so in a way that oftentimes crippled our ability to share our fears and our loss with those we love. Now, if there's a silver lining in all this, it's how organizations and individuals from every corner of Massachusetts stepped up to confront the pandemic and care for each other. These heroes are the most beautiful part of this most difficult experience. Their resilience, creativity, and commitment gives me hope. And because of who they are and what they do, I can say to you tonight that I know the state of our Commonwealth is strong.
The governor touched upon the many ways the state has dealt with the pandemic, from improving testing, securing PPE for healthcare workers, protecting as best it could those most vulnerable to infection, and supporting families and small businesses impacted by COVID closures. He also talked about how vaccines are the light at the end of the tunnel.
Thankfully, the scientific community, many from right here in Massachusetts, came through and created highly effective, thoroughly tested, and safe vaccines. And people are now being vaccinated. Vaccinating 4 million adults in Massachusetts as the doses are allocated by the federal government is not going to be easy. But be assured we'll make every effort to get this done as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Common sense says that we should prioritize the most vulnerable among us and those who keep our healthcare system operating, and we can only move as fast as the federal government delivers the vaccine. Everyone has shown tremendous patience throughout this long ordeal, and many are justifiably running out of it. I am too. And that's why this can't happen fast enough.
The governor says once the state returns to normal, it needs to collectively consider how adapting to working remotely through the pandemic will impact the state's economy.
Now, as we come out of the pandemic, one issue we need to get right is the future of work. Many people have gotten used to working remotely and may not want to come back to the office 5 days a week. Businesses big and small have learned how to attract new customers and support their existing ones without physically being with them. Virtual conferences have replaced in-person ones, and many companies have found ways to recruit and train new employees all remotely. Everything from business travel to training, recruiting, and sales have undergone massive transformation and will continue to adapt and evolve. These discoveries have big consequences for how people commute, where they live, where they work, and who they work for. And this will impact commercial centers, downtowns, transportation, and public spaces. It's critical that we understand this and lean into what this reset means, so that we create the community building, housing, economic development, and transportation programs that align with these changes. Make no mistake, we've always lived by our wits, figured out the future and got there first, and this time will be no different.
Governor Baker also spent time on other accomplishments from the past year, including overcoming revenue shortfalls while not raising taxes while still providing essential services, passing needed police reform following the racial tensions from last summer's death of George Floyd, moving ahead to combat climate change, providing expanded economic development opportunities post-pandemic. He also touched upon supporting infrastructure projects, particularly one that is of interest to our region.
On transportation, the new law accelerates bridge reconstruction so we can move faster to modernize every bridge that needs major repairs. It also provides the funding we need to complete the South Coast Rail expansion. Now, Fall River and New Bedford have been waiting for over 30 years for this to get done. It will now be available in 2023.
The governor, who continues to garner widespread support, used the end of his address to touch upon the current political mood of our nation and how his partners in government have stayed above the fray.
I've talked a lot over the past 6 years about collaboration and respect, about seeking common ground, about focusing on the issues and not on the personalities. And I get that it's harder to collaborate and it's harder to show respect in a time of high anxiety and trauma. But I would suggest that it's more important during times like these to ask questions, to be curious, to show empathy, and to maintain an open mind than it is to make brash statements and name call. Besides putting COVID in the rearview mirror once and for all, my biggest wish for 2021 is for all of us to take Walt Whitman's charge to heart. Be curious, not judgmental. If we do, I believe we will all grow. And hopefully we'll all learn a few things we didn't know before and be glad that we did. We'll also be happier and healthier and can use our newfound knowledge and understanding to work together to build a better, stronger Commonwealth as we come out of this awful pandemic.
Governor Baker also this week took the wraps off his fiscal year 2022 state budget. The governor says in the face of revenue challenges caused by the pandemic, the spending plan meets state priorities in a responsible manner.
That fiscal discipline has allowed us to continue to invest in other priorities around education, public health, economic growth, and support for local communities. And today we're submitting a $46.4 billion budget recommendations to the legislature. The budget fully funds the first year of the landmark Student Opportunity Act, provides substantial resources to promote economic growth and development as we work to recover, and helps ensure that public health during a pandemic continues to be there for us, all without raising taxes. We don't believe raising taxes on the residents of the Commonwealth, especially in the midst of all that's going on, is the right thing to do.
Among the items in the governor's budget is an increase in unrestricted local aid for cities and towns, as well as more funding for local schools. Mayor Coogan says he's looking forward to the details.
If we get an increase, it's going to go a long way to making sure that River's fiscally sound. We have a number of areas we can spend money to make the city a better place to live. The schools have a large amount of money, and we're working with them right now on coordinating joint city and school things we can do. Use that money to try to take a burden off our taxpayers, make the city better, and improve our schools. We're looking for extra money where we can get it.
Fall River saw significant job losses during the month of December. The city's unemployment rate rose to 10.1% in December, up from a rate of 7.8% recorded in November. The city was not the only community to see job losses. Surrounding towns also saw increases in unemployment, as did cities of similar size to Fall River. The state's unemployment rate for December rose to a level of 7.4%, up from 6.7% in November. As of Monday morning, the curfew on the closing of some businesses and the stay-at-home order was rescinded by Governor Baker. It's anticipated that the move will bring a boost to the financial fortunes of local businesses. One South Coast Chamber co-CEOs, Michael O'Sullivan and Rick Kidder, say local restaurants will be among the beneficiaries of lifting that curfew.
The weekends, not being able to be open till like 10, 11 o'clock at night on the weekends really made a difference. Some people were saying that they make $3,000 an hour on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night in those last 3 hours of the night. So it makes a huge difference, and they're very excited that they, starting today, that they can be open later.
I think the next step is going to be the increased capacity, because that's where the difference is really going to be made. When restaurants can get back to 50% capacity and to 75% capacity, and then fingers crossed, and we get our vaccinations back to 100% capacity. That's what's going to make the big difference. But from what we've heard of businesses, of course, they're very pleased that things are starting to ease a little bit. It gives people a sense that we're getting our arms around this thing, even as we all wait for our vaccines.
Movie theaters, gyms, and museums are also among the categories of businesses allowed to stay open later. In other news from the Chamber, the organization is looking to help local businesses by embarking on a membership drive geared toward giving a break to those businesses new to the Chamber.
And part of what we've done is cut the cost for joining the Chamber. Most small businesses would be in the neighborhood of $325. We've taken $100 off of that for any size business who is not a member of the Chamber now and wishes to be so. In addition, we've put in close to $5,000 in incentives, mostly marketing based, giving them opportunity of getting free advertising or buy one, get one, kinds of deals that will allow them to leverage their dollars a little bit better and get their name out. It's very important for us, yes, to service our members and for our membership to grow. But it's more important that as these companies come to us, that we actually give them the tools that they need in order to succeed.
The Chamber membership drive ends on February 5th. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Hi, Hi, I'm Tess Curran. I'm the Director of Health and Human Services for the City of Fall River. I hope you and your family are well. The safety of our community is a priority of Mayor Coogan and myself. The Massachusetts Vaccine Advisory Group has developed the vaccine distribution timeline. As we move through the vaccine phases, I would encourage residents to regularly check the Mass Department of Public Health website to know when they are able to receive the vaccine. The COVID-19 vaccine is safe, and it is critical that residents receive the vaccine as soon as they are able to, based on that timeline. However, the vaccine is just one piece of the puzzle. We must all continue to socially distance, wash our hands, wear our masks, and stay at home as much as possible. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. We must all continue to work together to get control over this pandemic. With your cooperation, we hope to distribute the COVID-19 vaccine as quickly and as safely as possible. Thank you.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Housekeeper, Health First Family Care Center, located at 387 Quarry Street, is looking for a part-time housekeeper, responsible for maintaining the cleanliness of all the health center exam rooms, office, restrooms, and common areas. Job number 144460048. Installer, Pella Windows and Doors, located at 1325 Airport Road, is in need of a full-time installer, responsible for visiting customer homes, installing windows and doors in Rhode Island or southeastern Massachusetts. Job number 1445647. Optometrist, Primacare, located at 277 Pleasant Street, is seeking a full-time optometrist to examine, diagnose, treat visual problems, manage diseases, injuries, and other disorders of the eyes. Job number 1445420. Blount Fine Foods, located at 630 Current Road, is in need of the following full and part-time positions. Inventory Coordinator, job number 1445782. Production Supervisor, job number 1445764. Burlington Department Store, located at 181 Mariano Bishop Boulevard, also is in need of the following full and part-time positions. Receiving Associate, job number 1445723. Retail Sales Associate, job number 1445385. For more information on these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The region is anticipated to undergo some extreme weather, with temperatures expected to plummet Thursday night, lasting through a portion of the weekend. Mayor Coogan says plans are in the works to help the homeless find protection from the cold.
What we're going to do is get a couple of warming shelters going, one at the First Step Inn and one at the Tomeo Center down on Bay Street. We've already made arrangements. We'll have a little press release going out later. We also plan on having our street workers out notifying people to come on in, and it's going to be a little colder than the average cold for people in the winter. So we want people to be safe and warm, and if we can get them in there and they can have a meal, watch some TV, and just stay safe through a cold snap like that, we're going to do everything we can on the city side, working with public safety and the police to make sure we don't have anybody, sleeping in somewhere where there's not a temperature that they can even sustain. We want to make sure they're safe and warm. That'll be our drive to get that message out and to get our outreach workers finding the people that need to come in best we can, bring them in and make sure they're warm.
Governor Charlie Baker last month appointed South Coast Health Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer Renee Clark and local attorney Pamela Govin to serve on the Bristol Community College Board of Trustees. Ms. Clark began her higher education at Massachusetts Bay Community College before earning her bachelor's degree at Framingham State University and her master's degree from Simmons College. She hopes to use her experience as a community college student to promote the benefits of attending Bristol.
I think the reasons that I chose a community college at that time are still reasons why people really appreciate that option now. Things like flexibility and accessibility and cost and, all of the different types of programs that are offered in a community college. I think the reasons are still the same and really important to a community as well as a diverse group of students. That, in addition to being a mother of college students, now I sort of know what they're looking for, obviously, and what it takes to get in and things like that. So I think hopefully my personal experience, both as a student and as a mother of students, will be helpful.
Attorney Galvin has roots in the New Bedford area and sees her strength as being an advocate for introducing students to local emerging economic development opportunities.
I'm really excited about forming partnerships with local businesses to get some of the students into the job force once they become students at Bristol County. And ironically, my office in New Bedford basically looks down on what I believe to be the new offshore wind training facility. So I think that is going to be a huge benefit for Bristol County. I think that the offshore wind industry is something that is going to bring a lot of students to Bristol County. It's going to train a lot of really talented students from Bristol County to work in the wind industry. So that's one of the things that I'm really excited about.
Finally, with the big football game scheduled for next week, Blessed Trinity Church has used it as an opportunity to help the needy.
Whenever the NFL playoffs start, we know they end with a Super Bowl. Well, here in the parish, we have a Super Bowl, which is soup, S-O-U-P, a Super Bowl. We have a drive, we call it Super Bowl of Caring, where we collect cans of soup throughout the playoffs and other non-perishable food items. And then on Super Bowl Sunday, we wrap up that drive and we donate that to the Citizens for Citizens Food Pantry to, again, try to help out, try to make a difference especially for those in need across our city. We've been doing it for several years now. The kids get a big charge out of it. We usually have some Super Bowl cupcakes for them that day, so they enjoy the cupcakes before they go to Sunday school. But also, it's just great to get them involved in showing them how it's so important to help others.
We'll wrap up FRC Media News right after this.
Hi, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today we have Bismarck. Bismarck here, he's having a little snack. He's a very social dude. He is very outgoing, absolutely loves people, loves a good bed, of course, but he also can be a very active cat, still very playful. He does just fine with other cats. We haven't tested him with dogs, but I would imagine he would probably do well with them. Of course, if you have a dog and you want to make sure, we can of course do that for you. He would do fine with kids. In fact, I bet kids would get a good kick out of him and his vocalizations. And like I said, he's not shy. He'll come right up and say hello. Never a hint of any kind of defensiveness or anything like that. So he'd do great as a family cat. So if you'd like to meet Bismarck, you can come down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts at Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
Today we have Milo. Milo is a 6-month-old pit bull boxer mix, we think. He was a surrender through no fault of his own. Unfortunately, his owners just couldn't keep him. As you can see, Milo's pretty energetic. He's got a real goofy face and these really cute spots on his ears, if you can see when he stops moving around for 2 seconds. Milo does not like cats. Milo's going to do really well in an active home with people who are constantly on the go. He's going to love to go for walks, probably going to love to run. As you can see, he loves playing with toys. Milo really is a sweet guy though, and once he gets a little basic obedience and has a proper outlet to get rid of his pent-up energy, he's going to make a fantastic dog for someone who's looking for a really active, fun-loving, sweet guy. If you think Milo might be a good fit for you, head on over to foreverpaws.com and check him out. Give you a call to come on down to 300 Linwood Street and meet him.
Hi, I'm Tess Curran. I'm the Director of Health and Human Services for the City of Fall River. I hope you and your family are well. The safety of our community is a priority of Mayor Coogan and myself. The Massachusetts Vaccine Advisory Group has developed the vaccine distribution timeline. As we move through the vaccine phases, I would encourage residents to regularly check the Mass Department of Public Health website to know when they are able to receive the vaccine. The COVID-19 vaccine is safe, and it is critical that residents receive the vaccine as soon as they are able to, based on that timeline. However, the vaccine is just one piece of the puzzle. We must all continue to socially distance, wash our hands, wear our masks, and stay at home as much as possible. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. We must all continue to work together to get control over this pandemic. With your cooperation, we hope to distribute the COVID-19 vaccine as quickly and as safely as possible. Thank you.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and information, including that special web page that has the latest information on the COVID-19 vaccine. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.